This is Work From Home, the podcast that helps you stay connected, productive and sane while working remotely. I'm Harry, and if since lockdown you've ever dreamt about removing yourself from your home office and transporting yourself all around the world, becoming a digital nomad and working remotely from locations across the globe, then this is the episode for you today. We are speaking with Ott Vatter, who's the Deputy Director of the Estonian E-Residency program, which effectively allows you to do exactly this. The E-Residency program and their Digital Nomad Visa gives you the opportunity to work from wherever you want while still remaining in your current position, working for the company you're working with, but you're no longer tied to the place that you work. And if you're a freelancer, if you're going freelance for the first time, the E-Residency program is definitely for you, or something that you might want to check out. So I started off by asking Ott, what is the E-Residency program and what is the Digital Nomad Visa?
So E-Residency, just to clarify, is completely virtual. This just allows you to manage or create and manage a company without the need of you being in Estonia particularly, but you can have an access to EU market through your Estonian or EU company. Now, we have also anticipated the need through this E-Residency customers and E-Residency interviews for these freelancers to have a legal way of working remotely. Because if you look at the legislation currently, most of the countries don't allow, or legally speaking, if you're on vacation in Indonesia and you open up your computer, that legally speaking is already working. And usually we are there with a tourist holiday visa. So technically it's illegal. and no country has ever kind of addressed that. We just, turn a blind eye. So through these interviews, we understood that e-residents would like to have this kind of official way of remote working, and Estonia aims to solve that kind of problem. So we have created something called the Digital Nomad Visa, or Remote Workers Visa program. And it's basically a D-type visa, which means that it's a working visa. This will allow you to stay in the Schengen zone for up to 12 months. And the requirements are that you are either a freelancer and you can prove that you have multiple customers in different geographies or different locations, and you're working for them. Or you're working for an overseas company or a corporation, but you're working remotely. And you are expected to prove this status, and you're expected to prove that you have a certain kind of income that you can get by in the Schengen zone. But that's exactly this kind of type of visa that you asked for.
So we have quite a kind of a lot of listeners from the UK. What about Brexit? What does this do? Does this impact anything? What are the effects there?
So Brexit for us has been a good example how to explain the Estonian e-residency program, or to explain the benefits of it, because people really, they understand what Brexit means, because it's quite evident that you no longer are a part of the European Union, and thus you don't have, similar rights or access to similar kinds of benefits that you did before. And these include physical ones, it includes virtual ones. And for us, it has been a good way of actually explaining what you are about to lose or what you can gain potentially. So I'll bring you one example. Academics or scientists who have participated formally in EU grants for example, a Horizon 2020 program or whatever. And as soon as the news came that you are about to leave and the decision was so to say made, they were no longer, so UK academics were no longer suitable for the grants, which means that a big part of their work actually became much more difficult. So what quite a lot of people did was create these kind of companies through e-residency to Estonia, and then apply for the grants through the Estonian company that's still under EU jurisdiction. So that is just one example of how you can still remain in the EU through a digital identity.
One thing I do wonder, obviously this is an e-residency visa. This is designed for people that might sort of want to be nomadic and move from place to place. However, this has undoubtedly brought focus and attention, at least within the freelance and startup communities, to the country of Estonia. Has this kind of resulted in maybe a population boom is an unfair description, but has it resulted in sort of an increase in attention of Estonia as a place to live?
Attention, most definitely. And we see, today we have more than 70,000 e-residents. These are the virtual citizens, as we call them, who have created more than 14,000 companies to Estonia and contributed to the economy greatly. And we see more and more of them actually interested in coming here, maybe not the first time to move here, but at least, coming and seeing what we have to offer. I think the most interesting example would be Japanese people who at some point, they were coming into our office and saying that, hey, I wanted to check out if Estonia is a real place. or what is this virtual country that everybody keeps talking about, right?
That's so cool.
And that's the idea where we based the kind of remote working visa upon, that you would have a possibility to come in Estonia, spend 3 months, 6 months here and do some remote work. And perhaps even if you're not moving or deciding to move here for years, maybe you will tell a friend that you love the experience here and they will come here for some time. Because in Estonia's case, we are very small. We are just 1.3 million people and quite in the dark corners of the world, in the sense that the winters can get quite depressing and heavy. So we need more lighthearted people and entrepreneurs to make our lives a bit more fun.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So I guess the question I need to ask is how do we apply? What's the process like? What details do you require, and how long does it take?
A very good question. Everything is online, of course, as it's e-Estonia, with the exception that to get the e-residency status after you have applied, you have to go to one of the Estonian embassies and meet the representative of our government, who will actually look at your passport and say that, Harry, you are who you claim to be. So that's the kind of the security step of the...
Okay, so it can't be 100% virtual. You need to know that there's a real human being here with a passport.
Yes, because we are giving you the access to our kind of digital services. And that comes with a certain responsibility that we would like to, understand that you have good intentions and we would like to welcome you to our community. But the application is online. It's apply.gov.ee. And it takes about 2 weeks to get an answer from the Estonian authorities. There is a security check that you have to go through, pay a state fee of 120 euros, and then go to the embassy to collect the card, and then Estonia is your oyster.
Wow. And how long is that sort of an indefinite visa, or does it last for a specific duration and you have to renew it, or what's the situation around that? So
the e-residency, and we can't call it a visa because the e-residency is a digital identity.
Yeah.
It's kind of your virtual, imagine this as your virtual passport, but you can't travel with it. So it's kind of that we say, Harry, you are who you claim to be online. And with that, you can now access our services, and the main service is actually company creation to Estonia. Now, the second part that I was telling you about is the digital nomad visa, or the remote workers visa. And that is a physical kind of visa into our Schengen zone or EU zone, which is up to 12 months. The e-residency is valid 5 years.
So I hope you enjoyed that one. If you're considering becoming a digital nomad and working from around the globe remotely, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you have planned, what you're scheming for when lockdown finally eases and we can travel more freely. If you did enjoy this episode, I would love it if you could share it with at least one person that you think would also get value from this information and learning about how they can work remotely from locations other than their spare room. You can find more information as ever at wfhpodcast.com. Thanks very much for listening.